Good afternoon. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez this morning announced €2.3 billion in additional aid to reconstruct areas of the Valencia region hit by the deadliest flash floods in Spain's modern history. The government has so far pledged a total of €16.6 billion in aid, and Sanchez told Parliament it will keep helping as long as needed. More than 220 people died and 5 are still listed as missing after torrential rains on October 29th triggered floods that swept through the suburbs south of the regional capital. Sanchez defended the way his government handled the extreme weather event, which he said was caused by climate change, but also blamed the regional administration for a tardy response in alerting citizens. The European Commission yesterday approved the fiscal plan submitted in mid-October to clean up the country's public accounts over the next 7 years and comply with the deficit and debt limits set by the EU rules. The fiscal plan presented by the government complies with the EU's fiscal surveillance criteria and sets out a credible fiscal path to ensure the sustainability of public finances in the medium term. The Commission supports the investment and reform roadmap that underpins our model of balanced, sustainable and fair growth, so the Economy Minister Carlos Cuerpo said yesterday. Following the news from Brussels, Spain will be able to protect the welfare state for the future and maintain strategic investments, whilst continuing to reduce the weight of debt and deficit in the GDP, the minister added. The government is bringing in new rules demanding hotels gather personal data on tourists, including family information, bank cards and addresses, and hand it over to security services. Hotels already ask guests for their ID card or passport details, but the new rules are expected to be the strictest in the EU, with up to 31 pieces of personal data collected. The legislation is set to come into force from Monday and will require tour operators, holiday rental platforms and car hire companies to gather data on customers. The Interior Minister, Fernando Grande Marlaska, said the rules were necessary to help tackle organised crime. Hospitality bosses have slammed the rules as draconian. And a British heavy metal guitarist is suing Spain at the European Court of Human Rights after he was wrongly arrested twice in connection with the murder of a Norwegian businessman on the Costa del Sol back in the 1990s. Guitarist Gary Owens, whose heavy metal band A to Z opened for big names like Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath, is claiming more than €5 million in compensation for having spent 25 years, 1 month and 4 days under indictment. He served prison time without ever being charged with the crime and was then extradited again years later in 2009. As many as 12 others were also arrested as part of an investigation into the crime over the years, which remains unsolved. Owens' case in the European Court comes after repeated attempts to claim compensation in the Spanish courts. That's the latest from TRE. I'm Bob James.